The Red River Showdown, sometimes called rivalry. I call it the time where Texas gets to embarrass themselves in front of Oklahoma in Dallas. Last year, it was our only regular season loss. And I want to tell you something right now. Throw whatever you think about Oklahoma and throw whatever you think about Texas out the window. This is a rivalry game unlike any other. It's played unlike any other. It doesn't really matter who is ranked where, and we're going to get into that and why this game is going to be exciting in any way. If it gets a blowout, if it's a close game, even if someone, I don't know, possibly puts up 28 points and still gets a giant comeback in a ridiculous fashion with a future Heisman Trophy winner beating your team. But that's too specific. Regardless, today we're going to predict the 2024 Red River Rivalry that's happening this Saturday, October 12th, as well as give you some background on the Red River Rivalry. Let you look at the record between Texas and Oklahoma and put a little background, as well as some news about this particular game, because there is a lot of injury updates. So first things first, if you enjoy college football content, if you like this video, like the video, subscribe, hit that bell thing. If you don't like the video, dislike it, man. Hey, let me know what you don't like about it. Get in the comments and tell me who you think is winning this year between Texas and Oklahoma. Let's get right into it. So let's just rip the band-aid off. Quinn Ewers, the iciest Texas quarterback in history, is back in action. Sark has confirmed it. Obviously, we knew he was dealing with a bit of an injury. And you know, the big bad dog Arch Manning came back and handled it. And from what I understood, it was oblique, right? I believe it was oblique, because it changed from what it was, what we thought it was. I think we thought it was shoulder, then it became oblique. But I think we all knew that we were going to take as much time as he needed. I'm sure that if we needed him, you know, the week before last, or if we needed him against Mississippi State, he would have been able to start. I'm pretty sure. But this is definitely something where, hey, give him another week, give him a full bye week, allow him. And that is so important that we have that bye week, because I'm not sure if you realize, but I'm a Texas fan, son. All right. Hook them horns. Number one team in the nation is getting there. A goddamn Heisman hopeful quarterback back. So it's going to be phenomenal things. But like I was saying, you know, I just love the fact that he gets a full bye week, because that's elite to have him a full week of practice, right? Because he does not going to have a game to tune back up, because Quinn Ewers has a record. And this is what I mean. It doesn't matter that we're the number one team. It doesn't matter. It's bad that this is going to be the first game he comes back. Let me just be honest. The practice helps, but this being his first game, go watch last year's game and watch how he opened it up. Immediately throwing 2 picks back to back. Quinn is a phenomenal talent, but sometimes I'm not sure if the lights are too bright or if he just gets the jitters. But early game Quinn, sometimes if he doesn't get that, go back and watch that Michigan game. If he didn't get that third down, that beautiful, I think it was either a seam or just a go that you put between 2 defenders on the right side shoulder for a beautiful third and I think medium conversion. If he doesn't get that, he's a little shakier for a little longer. He's a guy that needs to kind of get rushed off, and then second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, he's undeniable. Or if he gets going first quarter, he can get going. So I would love for him to not start like he did last year and throw 2 picks back to back. So just be on the lookout if you're an Oklahoma fan, or if you're, you know, trying to bet against the Longhorns. This is a rivalry game, and on top of that, you know, Quinn is known to get a little shaky and bakey. You feel me? So moving on, sorry about that. I didn't mean to in your face. On the Oklahoma side, they have a large number of receivers out. Not only receivers so far, but again, the explosivity of this offense, I think, is going to have to come from that run game. And of course, we're going to get into the stats and see how they rank up right now. It's looking like Oklahoma's leading wide receiver, which I think is pretty important. Deion Burks, he's not expected to play against Texas this weekend. Burks was number 18 in OU receptions and 201 yards. He'd been listed as questionable. Oklahoma is missing their top 5 wide receivers. That is absolutely absurd. Very, very bad. Oklahoma will be without wide receiver 1, Deion Brooks, Nick Anderson, who I think is a really good player, Andrew Anthony, Jalik Fahoum, and Jaden Gibson. That's brutal. That is super, super brutal. But again, I would still be careful on just saying Texas is going to roll. As a Texas fan, this is a rivalry game. Crazier things have happened. It does not matter. We had just come off beating Alabama. We were the best team, blah, blah, blah. We went to the playoffs last year, and we still lost to Oklahoma. So don't believe the hype. This, of course, was 2021. That was great. Oh, sorry. In 2020, I think that was the crazy comeback year, not 2021. Regardless, as you see, we hadn't been doing great. And then this year, one of the only years that we won, we lost to them in the Big 12 championship in 2018. So we need this win bad. We need to keep this momentum very bad. If you look at Texas' schedule, besides Georgia and Texas A&M, like Texas A&M, Georgia, and Oklahoma, those are the only games, because we played 2 rivalry games, and then the big dogs, quote unquote, in the SEC. It's going to look rough for us. But we need this one. But do not count Oklahoma out. They've got this kind of covered as of recent. But let's get right into some of the predictions and some of the numbers here. Obviously, Arch Manning is actually leading. That would be crazy to tell you if that Arch Manning would be leading in passing yards coming into this, but he is 55 for 78, 901, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Not bad for coming in and relieving. Jackson Arnold, of course, is still leading in passing yards, even though we know who is starting. I'm not sure if he's going to get as much burn. I think it's more totally the other guy. I forgot his name, not Watkins, but we'll hop in there when we actually look at it and get into the stats. Mr. Blue, 551 carries for 238 and 4 touchdowns. I would love to see a little bit more explosivity out of him, even though he is phenomenal. I just want to see the average be even better because I am a Texas fan and I'm not satiated with good enough. Mr. Barnes for 57 and 199 over there for Oklahoma. Isaiah Bond, 364, 3 of them things on 20 receptions. And Mr. Burks, who is not going to be a part of this game. So the messed up thing about this is some of these stats that we're going to be looking at is going to be a little bit out of context because a lot of these guys are going to be missing. So we're going to go probably deeper into these individual, depth charts, so we can actually get a better peek at that, because when we talk about people missing mostly on the Oklahoma side, it is a rough thing. And then, of course, Quinn Ewers coming back. This is going to look like 2 completely different teams than you've ever seen, at least for the first few weeks. Obviously, Texas with their very, very dominant offensive line, and Oklahoma with their very consistent and dominant defense. I think those are going to be the 2 things that we know are going to show up there. But when it comes to the quarterback position in Texas, hey, gotta hope, Quinn, you can shake back and be confident and be great. From the quarterback position in Oklahoma, I know that we've trusted in the true freshman, and Hawkins, that's his name, true freshman. But hey, man, if there's any wavering, this is the Red River Showdown. This is the Red River Rivalry. Anything can change, anything can mix up, and anything can go in a different direction here. Just looking at some quick little top 5s here. Of course, offensive leaders still the Hurricanes, the Rebels, and Broncos, which should just be Ashton Genty. Points allowed, hey, them horns, dog, for defensive leaders. We are number 2 in defense and points allowed. Ohio stay up at number 1. Yards allowed, again, number 3 for defense there, for yards allowed for the University of Texas. Passing, and then Oklahoma and Texas doesn't show up in any other location. So good to see there. Let's also see in the SEC. I think it would be good to look at where we land in the SEC, where Oklahoma has any rankings there. They are number 2 in sacks, though, so that is good to see. So they get after the quarterback. But, I mean, complete yards leader, we're number 2. Points allowed, we're number 1. Offensive leaders, we are number 3. In passing, we're number 3. Getting the job done with the backup quarterback. I'm happy as a Longhorn fan what we've been able to do. We've been having to kind of coast because of missing the quarterback and missing Quinn. So, but final parts here before we get into the history and get a little deeper into the history. Let's talk about where these teams rank coming into it. Obviously, as we know, these rankings don't have a lot to do. It's more about a benchmark, right? As we take a look at it, I always think it's cool to look at. So Texas, like we talked about, number 5 in points a game, number 5 in yards a game, number 8 in points of play, number 9 in yards of play, third down conversions, number 7. You know me, and I say it every video. Third down conversions and red zone conversions, which we are number 43, which is mid to top of mid, which isn't bad, but third down conversions being number 7 at 51.6%. I'm loving that. I think that's the only thing, or sorry, not the only thing. I think that's a big thing that helps with the momentum of a game. Continuing forward, often for the defense, points per game, number 2, like we talked about, opponent yards per game, number 3, like we talked about, number 1 in opponent points per play. So whatever that means. Opponent's yards a play, we're number 2. And opponent's third down conversions, we are number 10 at just at right before 30% there, and then opponent's fourth down conversion, which is a little, I don't see. That's why third down conversion is a lot more important to me. By the way, top 10 in opponent third conversion. You know what I'm saying? And I don't pay as much. I think fourth down is a completely different. It's so situational too, right? Like when you think about it, like what's a a 4th and 10 and a 4th and 7 and a 4th and 2 and a 4th and inches and a 4th and goal. Like, all of those are just so different scenario. I think in the difference is a lot more different than the third downs in that repertoire, because you as a defense, you practice 3rd and 10s, you practice 3rd and 5s, you practice 3rd and short. Like, that is going to be a part of your game plan of, and I'm not saying that 4th downs isn't, but I think that they're going to have a little more reps in 3rd down than 4th down. So, but obviously now that, 4th downs is being a little more attached. So I'm thinking that the thought process is a lot different too. But even at the end of the day, people still aren't going down 4th downs as much as we're going for 3rd downs. All right, it's not as important of a game. It's more of a desperation pull or a momentum pull. So it's a different bit of a game mode there. So continuing on, as I yap about the difference in 4th downs, rushing play percentages, we're number 58. Not important. Rushing yards a game, number 35, bit mid there. Rushes a game, doesn't really matter. Rushing yards a game, number 30, top-ish, top middle, the top middle of it. The defense here, we have opponent's yards a rush, number 13. Rushes a game, again, doesn't really matter. Opponent rush yards a game, number 26. Top of the mid there. Not the most dominant rushing defense, but pretty good, but not the most dominant rushing offense, but half decent. Passing statistics here. And this is where I think we shine here. Passing yards a game, we're number 9 at passing yards a game. Interceptions thrown, number 66, not great, but Quinn was throwing it around the yard. Top 25 when it comes to the sacks, which is great. Top 25 in our sacks, too. Look at that on offense and defense. Consistency there. Opponent interception throw, number 9, number 2 in opponent's passing yards a game. Top 30 when it comes to opponents pass a game. Number 1 when it comes to opponents pass yards a pass. So good stuff from Oklahoma. They've got a few good rankings, especially when it comes to their defense. Again, let's just start here, because look at the already points per play, number 10, number 12 when it points per game. Like, this is just a solid defense, all top 20, top 10s, and all these different point plays. Oklahoma offense is no slouch either. You got about mid-ish here in top 52. Or top 55, I guess. And then number 42 in points of play, number 117 in yards of play, so not the most efficient and effective. No, 26% on 3rd down conversions, dog. Number 125th, bottom of the league in 3rd down conversions. That's not great. And not having your starting 5 wide receivers doesn't make things that easier at all. I take everything I say back when I talk about the Hawkins. I think Jackson Arnold's going to get a lot of play. I think they're going to have to use every single offensive weapon they can, and I think it's going to cause some interesting things. Now, this is a defense that I think that can handle that, but just looking at this, seeing their struggles on 3rd down, and you don't have any of your wide receivers, like, you're going to have to make something fun. You're going to have to dual quarterback system it or make something shake, just from what we're looking at right now. So going on to rushing statistics, again, not something that they do great. 92, bottom-ish of the league there. Rushing yards, rushing yards a game, 88, again, bottom-ish of the league there. And then rushing defense, number 8 in your opponent's yards a game, but number 22 when it comes to rushing yards a game. Again, top 25 there. And then we go to passing statistics. They've been a bit middle of the pack to bottom-ish when it comes to passing, but passing defense, number 4 when it comes to sacks. That is some really, really, really elite stuff. But again, number 112 when it comes to that quarterback getting sacked. So we got to protect your quarterback. If you are a Sooners fan, and if you're a Sooners fan, I don't like you. Look at a little bit of this history, then we're going to pop out right out of here. Texans lead the series all time. That's awesome. But then if you keep reading it, it's not as awesome. Okay, all time is 63, 51, and 5. However, OU has been better than 500 since the end of World War II. So that's a little and since 2000, they're 17 and 8. Look. We got more national champions than in that same time period. Anyway, that's all we have to hang, because we haven't been doing good against them, and even the years that we do good, they still beat us. 1958, Oklahoma had won 6 in a row against the Longhorns, and 9 of the past 10 going into 1958. And Texas head coach Darrell Royal's second season, the former Oklahoma quarterback ended the losing streak with a 15-14 upset to the number 2 Sooners. Again, the thing that you're going to see in the history of this rivalry is it does not matter how high Texas is ranked. It doesn't matter how high Oklahoma is ranked. It doesn't matter. It's gonna go both ways. So 1958, you see it start. Then for the first time in the series, Oklahoma and Texas met in a number 1 versus number 2 matchup where Texas dominated 28-7 and didn't lose for the rest of the season, which ended with the consistent national championship and a win against Heisman winner Roger Staubach and number 2 Navy in the Cotton Bowl. 1976, Texas coach Darrell Royal accused OU and coach Barry Switzer of spying on practice, as reported by ESPN. Royal challenged Switzer assistant coach Larry Lacewell, the alleged spy Lonnie Williams, to take a lie detector test and that he would donate $10,000 apiece to charity of each of the men's choice if they passed. Eventually, it came out that Oklahoma was spying for years. Shout out Connor Stallions. 4 years earlier, when Chuck Fairbanks was the head coach, before the 1976 game, President Gerald Ford was with both Royal and Switzer. There wasn't much conversation in the end. It ended in a 6-6 tie. What the heck? Royals' final Red River game. Okay, and then 1984, UT was number 1, OU was number 3. Oklahoma's coach Switzer wore a beat Texas cap, and eventual longtime Texas coach Mac Brown was the Sooners' offensive coordinator. OU led 15-12 late and appeared to possibly make a game-clinching interception in the end zone, but it was ruled incomplete, and the Longhorns then kicked the field goal to secure the tie. Lots of ties in this. I didn't know there's so many ties. OU surprising march to a national championship, including a shocking 63-14 drubbing of the Longhorns. Sooners running back Quentin Griffin tied the NCAA record with 6 rushing touchdowns. We don't like talking about that one. Oklahoma, we don't like talking about that. Next, 2021. Okay, we don't like talking about this one either. But one season after OU topped Texas in a 4 overtime game, the rivals have ever more drama. Texas led by 21 points. Before the number 6 Sooners scored 25 points in the final quarters and escaped with a 55-48 win and remained undefeated. Caleb Williams took over for the quarterback for Spencer Rattler, who had 212 passing yards, with Kenny Brooks rushed for 217 yards and 2 scores. Very, very, very scary. Obviously, we know what happened last year. We got smacked. But get in the comments. Let me know your predictions. How you feel about Oklahoma, Texas, the rivalry. How do you feel about this game this Saturday? You'd be phenomenal. You'd be great. Please subscribe if you enjoy these videos. Like if you like it. Dislike if you don't like it. I tell you to be phenomenal. We'll be